Hello, I am Elizabeth Nieto. I am the Global Head of Equity and Impact at Spotify. My pronouns are she and her, and I am very excited to be part of the conversations today. One of the challenges that we have at Spotify, many people do not know that we are a Swedish company. And therefore, while a lot of the work that we started doing in diversity and inclusion from a racial perspective, it is in the US, our challenge now is to expand that work in other countries where we know that there are marginalized communities based on their racial origins, but those are conversations that are not being had in those places, or they're actually forbidden. As many of you may know, self identification from your race and ethnicity background is not something that you can collect in most countries. Therefore, trying to translate and tailor practices and policies and programs that will address the differences of marginalized communities, understanding the cultural nuances of the place is the challenge. It is a challenge, but it is the most exciting work that we do here at Spotify. Talking about early career, one of the programs that we started in 2016 and we're still continuing, actually, expanding, was our tech fellowship. The way the program was created were 18 weeks of development. There were three phases that we continue to follow. The first phase is onboarding, and that lasts 3 weeks. The second phase is the project, so the students can really put hands on work. And the third one, they actually get embedded in one of the squads for 6 weeks. So they leave those 18 weeks having done real work in with the R&D. That's how we call our tech department. We now had expanded the program. The program started in New York City, and we had expanded that program to London and Stockholm. And totally, we have hired 58 tech fellows since 2016. The wonderful news is that many of them had been promoted since they came through that program to engineer to or senior engineer. So the class of 2016 and 2017, all of that class has been promoted. So it shows the real impact of those 18 weeks and also having hands-on work. So we're excited about that. The other thing that we were very intentional from a diversity perspective. So from the 58 higher fellows, 55% are women, 43% male, and 2% non-binary. And also we have in the US, where we can track their ethnicity, 28% Black, 32% Latinx, 26% Asian. So really intentional in bringing talent that can grow in the organization and that really represents the talent that we want to attract throughout the world. So a lot of people ask about all these internship programs. What is the real impact? How do you make them happen? And there are many of this, and some of them have been successful and some others are not. I wanted to share this one about the Tech Fellowship because it has been successful for us. And the reason why was very practical. So the experienced people had to do work. So they were not just coming here like in the old internships that, we had students making photocopies. No, this is real work that will come through our platform. So, and then what makes the big difference is that since the program was created in 2016, we had 80 Spotifyers, tech senior leaders involved in the mentorship and work with these students. So this is not something that the DIB team can really, or the early career team can really create unless you have that partnership with the people that are going to make or break the careers of those students. So that is the piece that unless you get that engagement with your business leaders, or in our case with our tech leaders, the programs become a nice thing to have that is always good for the students. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing that because the students at the end of the day have an experience. But if you really want to have an impact, and for us the impact is hire a diverse generation of new technologists, the only way to do it is when you engage your business, or in our case the tech leaders. In the ACT report, one of the things that the companies that were participating in creating the recommendation was the understanding that diversity, inclusion, belonging goals needs to be included and integrated in the company's goal. There are very different reasons why. You either may be committed because you understand that you need to access a different kind of customer. You may be doing this because you need to diversify and bring new skills from a talent perspective. So each company will have to find what is important to create those goals. Now, after 2020, companies have been much more comfortable having aspirational goals that they can publish, and that creates accountability. So when you're going public and you're saying that you care about the talent of, determine the category, and you want to integrate, you want to bring them, you want to have them feel included and thriving, now you have an external commitment that you need to fulfill. And we were not that comfortable before 2020 in many companies. So we'll have these aspirational goals, but they will be our little thing among some of the leaders that were committed. Today, it is a broader, and I cannot imagine any company not understanding that thinking about the talent and bringing the new skills. We talk here at Spotify constantly about Generation Z. What are their needs? What are their expectations? And we need to adapt organizations so they want to come to work for us, as they will, have options in the future. So all that is integrated in the way that you organize, your organization, from a structure, from the practices, from the policies, and also from the expectations that the new workers will have. And you want them to be able to be productive as they come and work in an inclusive environment. I know sometimes it's easier to say, well, engage your leaders, integrate this into the business plan. But not every CEO understands of have been involved in conversations around customers or talent, and that how your job is to make that connection, to create the connection between the importance of DIB. We used to call this a business case. We don't need to call it a business case, but really the connection. Why would this be important? Do you want to be perceived as an inclusive leader? Would your organization have the recognition for being inclusive? Would you have access to better talent? Would you have access to more customers that will stay with you for longer? But that requires some education. And there are many tools that us can use, including the EC report, where we have experts for a year working on what could be some of the recommendations. So it doesn't have to be always on you. And this is a difficult part of our jobs. I do believe that going over and over, sometimes explaining what is equity. I had someone today telling me, you know, my husband grew up in another country. He doesn't understand the difference between equality and equity. It was great that you explained to that. And then she said, and he always says, I don't see color. And then I had to have a full conversation. Well, when someone tells me I don't see color, someone is not seeing me. I am invisible to them. And so over and over, our jobs are to continue to educate people and, give grace to those who may not know, who may be having this conversation for the first time, and having the resilience to have the conversation again and again and again. And there may be a time where you discover that the leadership of your organization is not interested on doing this work at all. And I will suggest that that's the time to look for other opportunities. There are many opportunities, because you can't be the only one with you and your small team trying to go against the grain of the organization. So you have to give the chance for your organization to integrate, to engage, to understand what are the potential and opportunities for them, and be able to implement and give you the resources to be able to implement, and take the credit when the impact is happening. That's always good, when business leaders feel so engaged and accountable for this work that they go and share the advancement of the organization as being what they have done. One of the things that excites me the most for the future is the idea of rethinking how we provide for activities related to belonging. When we are in a work from anywhere environment, now we need to rethink, how do we engage with our employees? And that is the thing that we're working deeply into discovering and experimenting and looking for new solutions.